All right, continuing along with the theme, IDEs are probably not long for the world because they're not awesome for supervision tasks. I think that the terminal is going to take over as the primary tool set for human-in-the-loop types of supervision tasks. And within the terminal ecosystem, I think the most important tool is going to be TMUX. If you don't know, TMUX is a session utility that allows you to open multiple sessions within the same window. And for engineering tasks, it is insanely useful. I'm also finding that for supervision tasks, it's insanely useful. So I'm going to show you really simply how to set TMUX up for hopefully the most common engineering task, which is setting up a TDD session, test-driven development. So most people set up their TMUX control characters to be Control B, but I prefer Control A because I use the Control B chord for something else. So I'm gonna do all of my TMUX commands using Control A. So first things first, to set up a new session, you can type TMUX new, and the S flag is the name of the session. So I'll say TDD demo, and I have a new TMUX session. To see existing sessions, you can hit Control AW, and that will show you your list of existing sessions. If I want to make a new session, Control A, and then and you can see at the bottom of my screen, I'm going to make a new session called New Session. And then using Control AW, I can toggle back and forth between my different TMUX sessions. So I'm going to get into my TDD session. So I want to, first of all, get my tests running. In a TDD session, if you're doing red-green testing, then your test should be running in watch mode continuously in the background, because the whole point of red-green TDD is that you want immediate feedback as fast as possible. So I'm going to have my test running in a separate pane, a separate terminal session, and the way that I'm going to open it is Control A, quotation mark. That key chord will, in my configuration, will set up a new terminal session. So I'm going to CD to my project. I need to get into the right node version here. So npm, npm. So this npm command with the watch flag will make it so that Jest is always watching the files in the background. And if anything changes, it will rerun the tests, the affected tests, and give you output here in the screen. As you can see right now, it's waiting. It's waiting for input. Let me move my head out of the way here. Okay, that's better. I'm gonna make my head smaller. Okay, now to state the obvious, I can't see the test or the production code, and that's what the top pane is for. So I have my TMUX pane set up to follow the JKW key chords. So J is up, K is down, etc. If I want to go up, I'm going to hit Control K, and that puts me into the top pane. By the way, this is something that the IDEs are terrible at. All of the IDEs support multiple windowing, but to move your cursor, to move the active pane from pane to pane, is really difficult to do. They haven't figured that out. But with this system, it's as simple as the keyboard navigation in Vim, JKW. So I've moved into the top pane, and now I'm going to show you a nuance of Vim, which is you can split panes in Vim just like you can in TMUX. So if I wanted to open a side-by-side pane, Control AW will open a side pane. So I could open a Vim session on both the left and the right. That is probably not the smartest thing to do because of the way that the buffers work in Vim. You can get into collisions, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to open Vim with side-by-side windows. So I'm going to say, oh wait, I'm in the wrong directory. Okay, so I'm gonna open up Vim, let me find a test here. Okay, here's one. So this is a unit test for a Pinia store. A Pinia is a state managed library that is popular in the Vue ecosystem. So I have this this spec class taking the entire screen, but I want to see it side by side my production class. So over here, I'm going to have my test on the right and my production class on the left. So I'm going to go to philosopher, and now, oh, I want philosopher store actually. So now I can see my test code on the right, my production code on the left. If I want to change the screen real estate, Control A and the down arrow will make the pane bigger or smaller as I wish, but I want to see more code and less terminal. So to see how this works, I'm gonna make one of these tests fail. Let's see here. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna change the case. And when I save this file, the tests are going to rerun, and lo and behold, you can see that this test failed because right there on line 26, it's expecting a capital A. So when I change this back, I would expect that the tests are going to fire off again, and they should be all green. So that is what I want to happen. I want the red-green testing harness to continually watch for changes in the code and to continually be running the tests every time something changes. Now, it is possible to do this in any IDE. The problem is the level of customization is a lot lower, but the real problem is that you have to use the mouse and you have to click around in an IDE to get all of this done. It's from an ergonomic standpoint and a productivity standpoint, it is so much better to be able to do this with keystrokes. And even the one small affordance of being able to navigate across panes using only keystroke navigation, that's what saves you time. That's what makes you more effective as an engineer. And it's really important to be able to master the physical skill of coding, because it is a physical skill. Of course, there's an intellectual component, but you will find that the best engineers also have mastered the physical skill of programming, and this is one example. All right, rant over.